Coco Gauff is back in the China Open semifinals for the second year in a row, and Coco, she proved that it's not about how you start, but how you finished. Although that troubling start she had is a bit concerning when you consider the challenge that awaits her next. Then we gotta talk about that epic Alcaraz-Sinner final in China and where it ranks amongst the top matches of the year. Also, Simona Halep returned to the court for the first time since May in Hong Kong. I'll tell you how she fared. Hey, my name is Christian Bassnight and welcome to Christian's Court, where I cover tennis from all angles. If you haven't yet already, make sure you subscribe and click that notification bell so you're notified whenever I post more Christian's Court reports, that's what I'm calling them now, during the Asian swing. Our first women's semifinal at the China Open is set, with Coco Gauff and Paula Badosa to square off for their 6th career meeting. Badosa booked her spot first, ending Shuai Zhang's beautiful run with a 6-1, 7-6 win. Badosa simply overpowered and outplayed Auntie Zheng to open the match, but in the second set, Zhang stepped up a lot and she got more aggressive, which paid off well. She got the early break in that second set before Badosa leveled it, and it was just too strong in the end. I was for sure sad to see Auntie Zheng bow out, and I was rooting for her actually to go ahead and win the title and then perhaps drop the mic after she had that just dismal 24 match losing streak. But still, regardless, she had a great tournament, and even if she doesn't retire this year or after Wuhan, she'll have at least some confidence going into next year to where she knows that she can win a tennis singles match. So for sure, she'll have nothing to hang her head about, and it was a great run and great to see her win all those matches that she did this week. Gauff, meanwhile, defeated Ukrainian qualifier Yulia Startup-Seva 2-6, 6-2, 6-2. The 115th ranked Startup-Seva had a much stronger start, and she capitalized on Gauff's poor serving. Coco literally hit 3 double faults in the first game alone. It was perhaps the worst set that Coco's played all year, as she hit 7 double faults total, but more strikingly, she hit 0 winners and committed 17 unforced errors, which is kind of insane. Gauff faced 2 break points in the opening game of the second set, but she saved them, and that's when really the match turned around, and Coco played a lot better. She served much stronger, and Coco just found her range well from the ground. In sets 2 and 3, Coco only made 4 double faults, and she hit 12 winners to 20 unforced errors. Those stats still don't look that great, but watching this match, I'm honestly very pleased with what I saw from Coco. I noticed a big, huge difference in how she's been playing her tennis lately. She's been hitting much more aggressively on both sides, and it's honestly the most aggressive that I've seen her play ever, to be honest. And it was honestly reminiscent of how she played in that 2 tournament stretch from when she won DC and then when she made the quarterfinals in Montreal, which is, in my opinion, the best tennis that Coco has ever played. Coco's game right now is definitely a work in progress, and she admitted that before the tournament, as this newer coaching setup with her adding Matt Daly to her team and leaving Brad Gilbert will take some time for her to for sure maximize all the potential that she has with her and Daly. The double faults are still for sure an issue, and Coco has had more unforced errors than winners in all of her matches this week. But I think her goal really is just to change her playing style to become this more aggressive baseliner instead of counterpunching, and I just love it personally. I think that that's how she needs to play in order for her to beat the Igas as well as the other big ball strikers out there. I am not expecting Coco to win this tournament. I think the double faults are too much of an issue, to be honest, and Badosa will for sure be the favorite in this semifinal match. She has not yet dropped a set this tournament, including a 6-4, 6-love win over the second seed Jessica Pegula, so she's been playing very tremendous tennis thus far. Badosa has not made a 1,000 final though since she won Indian Wells in 2021, so this will be a big moment for her for sure. Also, she's gunning for a WTA final spot too, so a lot I feel like is more on the line for her. Also, Badosa has not handled the particularly bigger moments the best, namely that US Open quarterfinal where she kind of fumbled that second set against Emma Navarro, but I do for sure expect her to play better in this match. I think a little bit less is on the line. You compare it to a Grand Slam and then a 1,000 tournament. Going off of form, I'm going to pick Badosa winning this one in 3 sets, but I would not be surprised if Coco problem solved yet again to find her way through to her first non-250 final of the year. There are 2 other women's quarterfinals yet to be played here in Beijing. First is Aryna Sabalenka, the top seed, going against Carolina-Muchova, who is unseeded. There are a lot of Sabalenka fans worried about this match, as Carolina does have a 2-1 head-to-head advantage over the Belarusian, although really it should be 2-1 Sabalenka when we think back to that Roland Garros semifinal where Sabalenka fumbled those match points. Just Yeah, anyways, both women are playing very good tennis though right now in Beijing. Sabalenka, she recently dispatched of Madison Keys 6-4, 6-3, while Muchova has only dropped 12 games in her 4 matches thus far. Muchova though has not faced a top player like a Keys, so Sabalenka will definitely be a considerable step up in class in my opinion. I think this one will be pretty tight. Muchova has the type of game style to really definitely trouble Biglenka with her solid serve, her variety, and her ability to finish points off at the net. However, I think that Sabalenka will have the chip on her shoulder in losing her last 2 matches to the Czech woman, and I also think her hunger to make the semifinals in Beijing for the first time and also put herself in a good position to be the year number 1 will be crucial, and thus I have her winning this one in 3 sets. Then we have Zheng-Aandreeva going up against the home crowd favorite Qinwen Zheng. Andreeva has kind of moved through this tournament relatively under the radar, as she often does, to be honest, and I honestly forgot about her a bit myself too. The 17-year-old Russian, she took down 2 seeds this tournament in Donna Vekic and Magda Linette, and her recent match against Linette was a 6-3, 6-1 rout. Qinwen, meanwhile, she won her opening 2 matches convincingly before once again coming from behind to down American Amanda Anisimova in 3 sets. This will be their first meeting between Mira and Qinwen, and I think that it will be a good one for sure. I believe that Mira can test Qinwen, especially with her consistency and high tennis IQ. But I think the Chinese woman, with her greater power as well as the crowd support, will advance to the Final 4. Then briefly, before we move on to talking about the men's, 2-time major champion Simona Halep played just her 3rd tournament since returning to the sport from her suspension, and she did get a win. She beat 114th ranked Arina Radionova 6-2, 4-6, 6-4 in the opening round of the Hong Kong 125 tournament, and this was her first win since August of 2022. However, Halep then suffered a brutal 6-2, 6-1 loss to 7th seed Anna Blinkova, who now plays the top-seeded Emma Navarro in the next round in the quarterfinals. I know it's still pretty early in her comeback, and she hasn't played a lot of tennis since returning from that drug suspension, but to be honest, I'm not sure of how much longer we will see Simona Halep competing on the tour. I would not be surprised if 2025 will be her final season. She is 33 years old, which is not young in tennis years, and she has been struggling with numerous injuries since this latest comeback. Regardless, even if it is soon to be curtains for the Romanian, at least she'll be able to end her career on her own terms. Judging from her recent posts on social media, her just being out there and competing is a win in itself, and if she's happy, I'm happy. Halep will play a couple more tour tournaments to finish out the year. Her next tournament will be the Tokyo 500, which starts on October 21st, and then she'll return to Hong Kong to play the 250 tournament in that following week. She will be confirmed to play in 2025 now, as she signed up recently for the Transylvania Open in Romania, which starts in February of next year. I wish her all the best. Of course, now we got to talk about that epic China Open 500 final between Carlos Alcaraz and Jannik Sinner. Alcaraz, of course, he dethroned the defending champ Sinner 6-7, 6-4, 7-6 in 3 hours and 21 minutes of epic tennis. This match was just full of topsy-turvy moments. Both men really could have won this match in straight sets, crazy enough. Alcaraz, he had the 5-2 lead in the opening set, and he had 3 opportunities to win that opening set, but Sinner just hung around and really he stole it. In the second set, Alcaraz continued to struggle with his poor breakpoint conversion rate, and he missed out on 2 opportunities to break Jannik at 3-all. And at that point, he was 1 for 6 on breakpoint chances. However, when Sinner had break chances in the following game at 4-3 to serve for the match, Alcaraz came up with the goods to escape trouble. Carlitos then took the second set, and he broke early in the decider for a 4-2 lead. Now, Carlos did have chances for a double break lead at 3-1, but he missed out on them. Sinner took advantage of that lifeline to break back, and this time he was leading in the scoreline, requiring Alcaraz to serve to stay in the match twice. When Jannik raced out to a 3-love lead in the third set tiebreaker, I thought it was a wrap for Carlos, but once he changed those shoes, it was a wrap for Sinner as Carlitos entered his final form. The Spaniard wrote off the last 7 points of the match to claim his 16th career title. Alcaraz also makes history, becoming the first man on the ATP Tour to win 500 titles on all 3 different surfaces. Alcaraz also kind of puts himself in the conversation to be maybe the player of the year, as he now holds a 3-0 head-to-head record over Sinner in 2024, and he now also has the overall 6-4 edge over the Italian in their rivalry. A lot of people are already giving this one the match of the year title, and to be honest, it might be, as we haven't really had that many great standout matches in 2024 on the men's side, unfortunately. The Olympics final between Djokovic and Alcaraz is top two for sure, in my opinion, and I think that Shelton Tiafoe, their US Open third round match, deserves to be in the conversation too. Now, while this match might be the best match of 2024, I do not think that it is the best Carlos and Jannik match overall in their rivalry. I think that the 2022 US Open quarterfinal for sure takes the cake, and it might be their best match of all time, to be honest. The 2023 Miami Open semifinals could also rival this one, and it might be better because in reality, a lot of their matches, Alcaraz and Sinner, they didn't really play great tennis at the same time. It came in spurts. The momentum shifts and drama really carried this one, and of course there were a few great shot-making moments, namely from Alcaraz, especially from the net. His hands, especially in that tiebreaker, were incredibly impressive. But we need to be mindful to not have recency bias when it comes to this rivalry in general. We hype it up because it's always competitive tennis, but the actual quality throughout, it really isn't anything too extraordinary. Former Slam champion and tennis pundit Mats Wilander had a once again questionable take when he said that when Sinner and Alcaraz are at their best, there's no way anyone has ever played better tennis, including the big three, which is honestly a wild thing to say, and I think that people are definitely jumping on the hype train a bit too quickly. Their Indian Wells and Roland Garros semifinals, to be honest, were mid, but regardless, it's just still entertaining tennis, and of course Sinner and Alcaraz are great for the sport than playing against one another. It's the best thing that the sport has to offer, to be honest, on the men's side at least, so of course they're going to milk it for all it's worth. By the way, it was nice to see that despite the beef between the Alcaraz and Sinner fan bases, that these two shared a jet to go to the next tournament, the Shanghai 1000. There. Speaking of that Shanghai Masters 1000 tournament, Sinner and Alcaraz are projected to meet in the semifinals. And going over the draw a bit, Jannik is projected to face Ben Shelton, the American, in the round of 16. Shelton, though, could meet Tokyo champion Arthur Fils in the third round for a rematch of their quarterfinal from Japan. I think Shelton would definitely have more in the tank for this match should they play, so I would favor him, although he has an interesting opening round match against fellow lefty Denis Shapovalov. I am going to go with Shelton actually to pull off the upset should he face Sinner in the fourth round. I think that Ben has been playing very well lately. He's just been dealt with some pretty rough draws, but I feel like this will be his time to really break out and show people what he's made of. Stefanos Tsitsipas has an intriguing opening round matchup against Kei Nishikori, who actually beat him a few months ago in Montreal. I could see Nishikori pulling it off again, as Tsitsipas has not been in great form lately, while Nishikori came off a great quarterfinal run in Tokyo, nearly beating Holger Rune. Felix Auger-Aliassime is there too to play, and he hopefully will bounce back strong from his disappointing early exit from Japan. The 2019 Shanghai champ Dino Medvedev is the strong favorite to me to progress after he made a solid semifinal run in Beijing, losing to the eventual champion Alcaraz. Alcaraz, by the way, will open against talented young 19-year-old Jerry Shang, who claimed his first tour title in Chengdu last week. It's nice also to see another Chinese man, Yubing Wu, making and winning tour-level matches again after struggling with injury. He has a good shot at going one round further too, as Nicolas Jarry is his next opponent, and the Chilean has not been in great form lately. I am concerned a bit about Alcaraz and their being a factor with him in fatigue, as he's been playing Davis Cup, Laver Cup, and then Beijing. He's currently on, I believe, a 10 or 9 match win streak. I do think that Ugo Humbert there would be the biggest threat for him for sure, but I still think that Carlos should still come through to make the quarterfinals. Tommy Paul will be my pick to win through in his section. Casper Ruud is the highest ranked seed there, but he's been struggling with form since Roland Garros, to be honest. Paul would be looking for revenge, though, against Thomas Mahach, as well as the Czech eliminated Paul in Tokyo. Transitioning to the bottom half, Andrei Rublev, last year's finalist, is on a collision course to play Grigor Dimitrov in the fourth round. Dimitrov pulled out of the China Open due to an injury, so I'm intrigued to see how he performs here in Shanghai. Montreal champion Alexei Popyrin is in this section as well. Rublev does have a challenging opener and 19-year-old Czech Jakub Mensik, but I think that Andrei's section is pretty decent for him, and I will have him going through to make the Elite Eight. Novak Djokovic, meanwhile, makes his return to tennis after falling in the US Open third round to Popyrin. This could be his final tournament of the year, though, as he said he's not really that keen on playing in the year-end championships in Turin. when he's the defending champion. He might play breakout star Bu Unchakete, which would be a great moment for the Chinese man. Stanislas Wawrinka is there too, as he won his opening round match against Giovanni Impetri Petitcard. I think that Nole will end up playing Francis Tiafoe in the 4th round, and I think that's a great chance for the American to beat Nole, I believe, for the first time. There are a lot of question marks surrounding Novak's form, and I could see for sure Djokovic being a little bit shaky. But I'm going to keep it safe though and have the 4-time champion Djokovic make it through to the quarterfinals. In Taylor Fritz's section, my eyes are drawn to that second round between Holger Rune and Matteo Berrettini. The winner of that one is likely to play Jiri Lehecka. I'm leaning a little bit towards Berrettini there, and I'll possibly have the Italian come through to the 4th round. I think the US Open finalist Taylor has a solid draw here, and he'll be looking for revenge should he play Brandon Nakashima in the 3rd round, as his compatriot Brandon beat him in the Cincinnati Open this year. I'm going to go with Taylor, though, to make the quarterfinals. And then lastly, Alexander Zverev has a decent draw. He would likely play either Lorenzo Musetti or Karen Khachanov in the 4th round. Regardless of who he would play, I think the German would advance. Briefly giving my predictions, in the semifinals, I have Medvedev going up against Tommy Paul, and then Rublev and Zverev. In the finals, I have a Medvedev and Zverev clash, which is, I think, would be a rematch of the 2019 final, and I have the same result of Medvedev taking the title. I think that he will indeed win the same title more than once for the first time in his career here. He's been playing solid tennis, and I think that his draw will open up, and he's got to win a title. He hasn't won a title actually since Rome of 2023, so if he's going to win a title in 2024, I think it'll be here. What are your thoughts on Coco becoming more of an aggressive player? Do you think that it'll pay off, or should she stick to her more counter-punching style to reduce the errors? Let me know in the comment section below. Also, is Alcaraz-Sinner your men's match of the year? Plus, who is your pick to take the title in Shanghai? Again, make sure you subscribe and click the notification bell so you're notified whenever I post my next video. And also, if you want more of me, head over to Quality Shot Tennis, their YouTube channel, where I recently did a podcast episode more talking about the Sinner doping case, as well as things like my girl Alicia Parks, and then who can be the next American men's and women's slam champion. So for sure, it's a very great conversation. Shout out to Faison over there. The link to that video will be in my pinned comment in this video. Thank you all so much for watching and for your support, and I'll see y'all next time here on Christian's Court.